Hi everyone, welcome back to another math lesson with Mrs. Gravenice. Make sure that you're ready to learn today. Find a quiet place to work, have out your math notebook and pencil, and message your teacher if you need help with anything. All right, we are in another lesson with converting in the metric system, and it's really the same thing that we did in our last lesson with converting metric length, but we have a couple of different units to look at. So our objective today, I will be able to convert metric units of mass. So just to review the metric system, it's a base 10 system of measuring, which means we only have to move the decimal point to the left or the right a certain number of times. So because we're working in that base 10 system, we don't have to get a calculator out and do multiplication or division, unless you wanted to. It's just about moving within the place value system. So what's that helpful sentence that we can use to remember? King Henry doesn't usually drink chocolate milk. Okay, and here's that same continuum. Remember that the U is the base unit. Last lesson, our base unit was the meter because we were measuring length. Okay, our base unit will change as we get into different systems of measurement. But all of these are the same. So let's take a look at metric mass. What is mass? I think you've probably heard about it in science class. Mass is the amount of matter in an object. A lot of people say that mass and weight are the same, which is wrong. They're not exactly the same. Weight is how much gravity is pushing down on something. Mass is the amount of matter in an object, but they're similar ideas. So here are our major units that we will use for metric mass in 5th grade at least. So the gram is our base unit. So that would be our root word that we build on. We put all of those prefixes in front of gram, and then we get new units. So what are the 3 units that we use? Well, the smallest one that we're working with today is the milligram. There's that prefix milli attached to our root word gram. A milligram has a mass that's very small. It's the mass of a breadcrumb. Okay, a breadcrumb is super duper tiny. Think of like, a little bit bigger than a grain of sand. A milligram is tiny as far as its mass. Then we get up to our base unit, gram, which has the mass of a paperclip. And it's equal to 1,000 milligrams. So if I took 1,000 breadcrumbs, that would equal about the same mass as a gram, which is a paperclip. Now we're not talking length, we're talking mass, the amount of matter in that object. And then we get into the kilogram, which is equal to the mass of a loaf of bread. 1,000 grams are a kilogram. So if we took the mass of about 1,000 paper clips, that would equal about the mass of a loaf of bread, which is a kilogram. So there's only 3 that we're working with in mass for metric system: the milligram, the gram, and the kilogram. So if we look at our continuum, we are only really focusing on the ends and the middle for mass. Kilo would be the biggest one that we work with today. The gram, which is our base unit, and then milli or milligram, which would be our tiny little guy. Here's another look at our metric system continuum. And you should remember that it looks similar to our place value chart. If you move up and to the left, the units are 10 times as much as the previous unit. And if you move down and to the right, the units are 10 times smaller. All right, so let's match the measure. So I have 3 pictures here, and remember that we're talking about mass. A stack of old textbooks, a couple, or no, it's more than a couple, but a spoon that has some salt in it, and then a pile of rubber bands. So, what do we think the mass of these books would be best measured in? Would we want to measure them in milligrams, grams or kilograms? Kilograms, because remember, 1 kilogram is about a loaf of bread. And these books, each book is probably more mass than a loaf of bread. So we would definitely want to use kilograms for that. If we used milligrams or grams, we would need a whole lot of them, and we would lose count probably. All right, how about this spoon with some salt inside of it? Milligrams or grams? Milligrams. Yeah, remember that a milligram is like a breadcrumb. So this would be a few milligrams, which means that our pile of rubber bands has the mass that we would want to measure in grams. Okay, think 1 gram is a paper clip. So a bunch of rubber bands would be a certain number of grams. That would be the most appropriate unit. All right, so now let's do some conversions. This is the same process as what we did in our previous lesson. It's just we're working with some different units. So we're looking at our base unit has changed to the gram because we're working with mass. 7.8 kilograms equals how many grams? So think of like if you had about 8 loaves of bread. How many paper clips would that equal? I know it's kind of silly to think of. So should this number be bigger or smaller than 7.8? Bigger, right? Because when you go to a smaller unit, you need more of them. All right, so same as before. Let's start at our kilograms and jump to grams. So we're starting up here, kilograms. Hopping over once, twice, and base unit, the U is our grams. There we go. How many hops and in which direction? 1, 2, 3 hops to the right. So we're going to take our decimal point, it was already there, and we're moving it 3 hops to the right. Now when I look here, I can see that 1 hop is going to get me to the end of my number. So I'm going to build in zeros. Very good. I just put 3 on there. You could have put more if you want. I always just like to do 3 to begin with, and then I can add more. And remember, we're going 3 hops to the right. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. So I didn't need this last 0, but it was there just to make me happy. So what's my amount? 7800 is 7,800. So 7 8/10 kilograms equals 7,800 grams. Let's try another one. All right, 6,983 milligrams equal how many grams? Remember, milligrams. A milligram is a breadcrumb. Okay, so it's super tiny, and we have a lot of them. So we're going up to grams, our base unit. Let's follow those same steps. Starting at milli, going to the base unit gram. Count your hops. 1, 2, 3. 3 hops in which direction? To the left. So I'm taking my decimal point. Wait a minute. 6,983 didn't have a decimal point written. This is a comma. That's used to separate the periods of numbers. So the decimal point lives where? At the end. Okay, so next to that ones place on the end. So that's why I put this big blue decimal point right here, because that's where it really was. It was just hiding. So I need to take that decimal point and move 3 to the left. Here we go. Let's hop it over. Oh, not that. 1, 2, 3 to the left gives me 6.983. So 6,983 little tiny milligrams equal 6.983 grams. So almost 7 grams. Remember, a gram is about the mass of a paperclip. Notice that our numbers stay the same. We still have the same digits, but their place value changes. And that's the nice thing about the metric system, is that it's based off of base 10, so you know what your digits are going to be. You just have to have the right place value. All right, let's try another one like that. 7 kilograms equal how many? Woo! Milligrams. So we're traveling all the way down the continuum to the far right. So we're going from big kilograms to small milligrams. All right, here we go. Let's count these hops. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It took us 6 hops to get down there. And in which direction? To the right. So we need to take our decimal point. Remember, it was hiding at the end. And we need to move it 6 hops to the right. So I need to build in a bunch of zeros, don't I? All right, let's get that decimal point moving along. 6 hops. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Whew. All right, he must be tired from all of that moving. So I have this number, which would be 1, 2, 3, comma, 1, 2, 3, comma, 7 million. So 7 kilograms. Think of 7 loaves of bread, the mass of 7 loaves of bread, equals 7 million milligrams, or 7 million little breadcrumbs. Okay, big difference there. All right, let's do a comparison, and I'll give you some practice work, and we'll be done for the day. 65 kilograms compared to 6,500 grams. Now we can see that I'm using the same digits. The place value is different. So it's a good test. If this was like something like, 36 or 32, we would at least know they're not equal to each other. But this makes you just think a little bit harder. All right, we are converting to one of the units. I'm going to do what I normally do and go to the smaller unit, which would be the gram. Gram is smaller than a kilogram. So, taking my kilograms, converting them to grams. Remember, when we do these comparisons, you have to make a conversion first. So I'm going from kilograms to grams. Count your hops. 1, 2, 3 to the right. So I need to move my decimal point 3 to the right. Here we go. Let's build in those zeros so we have a place to move it. 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3. Now I have 65,000 grams. Now I'm not done with this yet because I still have to draw my comparison. So if this 65 kilograms is really the same as 65,000 grams, now I can compare. 65,000 grams compared to 6,500 grams. 65,000 is greater than 6,500 or 6,500. So 65 kilograms is greater than 6,500 grams. All right, here are some practice problems. So you can pause the video, copy these down. I have more at the bottom, so I'll let you pause it and then I'll scroll down. And here is your continuum with the red highlighted units for mass that we will be using. Here we go. All right, let your teacher know if you have any questions or if you'd like him or her to check your work. Have a great rest of your day.